What's up, everybody? Nerdporial here from the Nerdporial Continuum. Well, as you can tell, I went and I saw Indiana Jones 5, or Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Let's just say, right off the bat, this movie was not necessary. We didn't need to have this film. This was just something that Disney Lucasfilm needed. They had the property. They might as well use it for whatever reasons. I mean, look at their track record with Star Wars. Well, it's no different here. Indiana Jones 5 was not funny, and it was boring. Leave it to Disney Lucasfilm to make their most exciting franchises, whether it be Star Wars, whether it be, well, in the case of Disney, Marvel, and now Indiana Jones, make it boring. There's barely anything going on, and plus, Harrison Ford, I've been a fan of Indiana Jones my entire life. I saw Temple of Doom when my parents recorded it on HBO. Came out the same year I was born. So Temple of Doom was the first movie. It's always going to be there. It's not my favorite, but it's still it's still near and dear to my heart. Raiders, love Raiders, definitely my favorite of the series. And I saw Last Crusade in the theater. I was really young, but I remember it. And I knew Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones way before I knew him as Han Solo. I recognized him as Han Solo when my parents were in Star Wars and I saw it for the first time. But my history is deeper with Indiana Jones. So there you go. I was actually excited to see the fourth movie when it came out in college. And you know what? As much as I know everybody hated it, I didn't like it nearly as much as the original three. But there was a point or two that was pretty funny. I mean, it still had that Spielberg wholesomeness to a degree. That whole alien thing, just like, didn't really care for it. Didn't really care for the CGI. And the Soviets were okay villains. And then there was some really cartoonish stuff like the whole refrigerator and the nuclear arms, the nuclear test site. It was ridiculous. But now we have this fifth film, takes place during Vietnam era, 1969, the day of the moon landing, and Harrison Ford's 80 years old, and the one thing we know about Indiana Jones, he always throws punches, and he always gets punched in the face with that iconic sound effect, that iconic punch sound. And here, I mean, I think we heard it. I don't recall hearing it that much in this movie, and I didn't want him to get hit. Harrison Ford is 80 years old. The last thing I want him to do is to be punched in the face, let alone even fall. I mean, once you get older, once you get to that age, bones get brittle. Just a simple fall can break your hip or can hurt you really, really seriously. So I didn't want to see that. So there was that. And then there's the characters that are in the movie. You have Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Phoebe Waller-Bridge played the droid, the annoying droid in Solo. Probably the one character I probably liked the least, and I was happy this droid got destroyed in Solo. But she came off as pretty insufferable. She started off wide-eyed, and then she comes off later as insufferable. Like, she literally leaves him for dead several times in the movie. And then she knows everything. She's just really good at everything. Then she kind of takes on the mantle of action hero because, well, Harrison Ford's too old, and Indy is too old to be doing that. So she's doing these stunts that I just don't buy, like jumping on cars, riding a motorcycle in the rain on a runway, catching up to a plane, jumping off onto the landing wheel, and then sneaking on board. I'm just like, I don't buy this. It's ridiculous. And then she's just like, she's the reason that Indy resolves his issue at the end. And I'm just like, whatever. Indy's issue. What is his issue? Well, the fourth movie, as much as people hate the fourth movie ended, tied a knot in the story. Like, it could have just ended there. Fourth movie, he finally marries Marion and comes to terms with the fact that he has a son. And that he still has the Indiana Jones. I mean, he'll never give up the mantle of Indiana Jones. And that was a great ending. And then they completely undid that. By killing his son off in Vietnam and him getting a divorce. And instead of living in that house and still being a professor at that college that he was in, Raiders and Last Crusade, And even the fourth movie, he's a professor at some crappy college in, I think it was New York City or something, and Hunter College or whatever it is. Nobody respects him, and he's living in some shitty apartment. Like, come on, like this. And then we see like the older Harrison Ford in his boxers and shirtless. Like, come on. It's just I just didn't like how they portrayed him, and it was sad. I mean, the whole thing was sad. Him going on this mission for this Dial of Destiny by Archimedes, and then there's time travel involved, and then there's it's really hard to get behind. Like, Phoebe Waller-Bridge has her own version of Short Round called Teddy, and so like Teddy manages to outmaneuver a 300-pound dude, and basically dispatch him. I couldn't believe what I saw. It was ridiculous. So I felt there was a lot of things wasted. I felt like a lot of the actors barely had any screen time except for Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Salo was in the movie. John Rhys Davies. He barely did anything. He just was there to be a member berry. He had grandkids, and the grandkids knew all about Indy, and he was at the end, and he didn't do anything. He's like, I want to come with. He's like, I want to be on one last adventure, kind of like Picard in season 3. And Indy's like, yeah, but then nothing happens. He just leaves. So it's just like, okay, why even have that? Why even have that in there? Seriously. And and it's just, Marion's in the movie. Karen Allen's in the movie at the very, very end, and there's some sort of resolution with their relationship that happened because of how them undoing Shia LaBeouf's character being killed in Vietnam and all that. It didn't feel quite earned, in my opinion. And then there's things that are just ridiculous that even in the beginning of the movie. So the beginning of the movie is the best part of the movie. It had the most action. It was the most Indiana Jones like, and it was basically deep faked Harrison Ford, as a younger Indy, trying to recover all the artifacts from the Nazis during World War II, during the the Allied invasion in 1944. So, at least according to the sources. I don't know. I thought it was 45 when I first saw it. Whatever. But even then, there were certain things that happened. I don't know if it was because of the CGI or the decisions made, but things happened that if it would have happened to anyone for real, they would have been dead. Like, the main villain gets hit by a post. He's standing outside the train. So there's this action set piece on top of a train, and Mads Mikkelsen's holding them at gunpoint. He's holding onto the train, and he gets hit by one of those. He gets hit by a protruding cantilevered type of structure or something. I don't remember what it was, but it hits him in the head, and he gets knocked off the train. He would be dead. But he comes back as the villain. He has no scars. There's nothing that even remotely hints that he was hurt in the beginning of the movie. And this is the first part, like I said, was 44. The rest of the movie takes place in 69. So there you have it. So there's things like that were just ridiculous and hard to believe. And if you want to check it out, my friend Prophet the Dragon, we both saw the movie. It was my suggestion that we see the movie. Now he hates me forever for that. But definitely check out his review, and definitely check out our stream that we did at the very end. We did an initial stream right after we saw it. So, but it was this movie. Like I said, this movie was not necessary. This movie tried to be funny. It wasn't funny. Every Indiana Jones movie was funny. Raiders had the gun scene. Temple of Doom had freaking Short Round and Willie being stupid. That was funny. Last Crusade had, Sean Connery as the dad, and the part with the blimp where he throws the Nazi out and he's like, no ticket, and then everyone's taking out their tickets. That's funny. And like I said with Crystal Skull, even Crystal Skull had that moment with Shia LaBeouf throwing the snake as a rope. That was funny. Nothing in this movie was funny. They tried to be, and it just fell short, like almost all of Disney Lucasfilm. And plus, with what they did with Star Wars, and what Disney's doing with all their properties, there's just a lot of ill will. So it's really hard to get past that. And as much as I wanted to give this movie a chance, I wanted to see it for myself. I am an Indiana Jones fan. Big fan of those movies. Like, I think George Lucas and Steven Spielberg created another epic series alongside Star Wars, and that's what made those two legends, basically. And it's a shame that modern entertainment has taken us here to where, franchises have been popular long enough to be, obsolete and ruined. I mean, look at Terminator. I think Terminator is the best example. Terminator movies have gotten worse and worse, and they keep making them, and it's gotten to the point where nobody wants to see them anymore, and it looks like it's going to follow suit here. So that's my take on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The music, John Williams. This is John Williams' final movie as a composer. I thought the music was fine. It was present throughout the movie, but nothing really stood out. I think only stuff that really stood out to me that made me feel emotional was stuff that was in other movies, like Raiders, Marion's theme, that theme, which sounds almost equivalent to Princess Leia's theme, obviously, same composer. But other than that, the music was fine, but like the rest of the movie, I mean, if you want to see this movie, definitely go ahead. But I would pass on this. I would watch the older films. There's other good movies out there to check out. So that's my take. So definitely go over to Prophet of the Dragon's channel. Watch his 1 hour breakdown. He goes over everything. If anyone is really good at being analytical and seeing things that don't make sense, it is him. So definitely go to Prophet of the Dragon's link. That will be in the description. Same with our stream. The stream will also be linked in the description. So other than that, everybody, if you do go see the movie and you've gotten this far in the video, please tell me what you thought of it. Please tell me if you feel the same way as me. Please especially let me know if you disagree with me, and tell me why I am wrong, or tell me what you like about this, and why the things that I brought up don't bother you. That would be great. That way we all learn from each other. Because we're not all going to agree on everything, and we're not all going to. And if we do disagree, we use that as an opportunity to learn from each other. So other than everybody, take care, stay corporeal, hit the like button, and if you're new here, I mean, I've done a whole bunch of videos, I've done a whole bunch of retrospectives. Hit the subscribe button if you're interested. Everybody, take care, stay safe this holiday weekend. And have a good one. Later.